Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be taking a look at the importance of having a blueprint library. So the single biggest question I've been asked since I started this channel is, which BPO do I buy when starting out in industry? And generally I don't answer this question, or I haven't answered it directly, because there is no BPO which you should buy, which will give you guaranteed profits again and again and again. All items in the game have cycles. Some days they're profitable, some days they're not. Some weeks they are, some weeks they're not, and it goes on and on. So the general advice that I generally give is buy a BPO that suits your style of play and where to go from there. So a lot of people start out with ammo BPOs, and this is because obviously with ammo you can build it and you can use it for your ships. And that way you can build the stuff you're using, and if you're building any excess you can always sell it on the market. And once you've done that a bit, you've got a general idea of how to do a bit of industry, and then you can start branching out into other areas, finding out which areas you want to kind of get into, whether it's ship manufacturing, component manufacturing, and then you slowly build up a BPO library from this style of basically just collecting it slowly but surely and adding to it as time goes on. When you find something else that's profitable, you research the BPO, and then obviously you print out X amount of copies of whatever or produce the item, and the whole merry-go-round goes again and again and again. And before long, you've got a whole stack of BPOs that you barely use anymore. And this is how you get a general BPO library of hundreds, thousands of BPOs that you barely ever use. And that's because some of the lower ones that you started with, for instance the ammo, are no longer worth your time to produce. They produce such a small amount of return, it's easy to do, and pretty much anybody and everybody is doing it. So you slowly build up a bigger and better collection of BPOs in the end, and then again you can cycle through them to extract the most amount of profit that you can, obviously, from building them and selling them. So it's been no secret, I obviously bought some of the BPOs for the large industrial cores, cranked out some of the T1s, and as you can see here I have been doing some T3s, now at T2s even, I wish. But you can see here price has fluctuated quite a lot. Initially price was dropping quite hard, and it's rebounded slightly, possibly to be expected. One thing I hadn't taken into account is obviously these are new skills, the industrial reconfiguration, and it's quite a long training time, and you need level 5 for the industrial core 2. So demand probably isn't going to be quite as high as I initially anticipated due to that reason. But regardless, I have built 5 and I've sold 5. So that takes us to the point where obviously I need to build some more. So here we are, industrial core, and you know, all in all, buy the stuff straight from Jitter and off we go. Now, the issue that we have here is obviously when we've come to build it, the cost is 172 million ISK, which is about 70 million ISK more than expected. And that is, well, the electronic RAM here is up 680%, but it's coming on at only 3 million ISK, so nothing particularly wow there. 39% up for the cooled water, quite an increase, but the thing that's really adding to the price here is the fact that these quantum microprocessors are up 200%. Now, I think some of these have just been added. Yeah, so again, there's only 500 now on the market, and if we want to buy in any decent quantity, they're at 300k each. And we can see here the spike. And that was to be expected. Little upset that I didn't really get in on that, but by the by, we are where we are. And at the moment, if I want to build a core, it's 172 million ISK. So I could pretty much save a good chunk of ISK in regards to building this. At the moment, the industrial T1 core is up 10 million ISK. So again, a little saving there if I build my own, but this is what's really adding to this overall price. And this kind of sucks because now I am at the mercy of the markets, because, well, if I want to build any more of these, I have to pay 172 million ISK per unit. And again, 70, almost double what the actual build cost is. And this price could drop very quickly at any time, and we have seen, so say we started, when I got my first item on the market yesterday, it was 1 billion ISK. and by the time I sold it to a buy order, which is unlike me, but I was going to bed at 480 and 450 mil, because basically there were so many coming onto the market, I couldn't sell it quick enough, and I had no idea what the market would be doing by the morning, so it was better just to lock in a bit of profit, go to bed and wake up and go from there. So this is where having a stack of blueprints comes in very handy. Now I've got a good number here. The vast majority of my research, some aren't, and I can't even remember buying these, researching them. I'm pretty sure I've probably built stuff using these, but all in all I have no recollection whatsoever. But they're just hanging around in my hangar, and I can save a substantial amount of ISK just by building these myself. And again, I think this is a great highlight of why, you know, having the basis of BPOs is really, really handy. And so it's 52,000 to make. Oh, some more's been added since we started talking. So the price is dropping, but again, people are going to be gouging the market. And the average price is above the build cost of the microprocessor just. So there is probably ISK to be made with the microprocessor in general. But yeah, this really does highlight the fact that having BPOs that you've used in the past, keeping them around, because you never know quite when you're going to use them. And again, if I hadn't got this, it would pretty much scupper me from building the items that I want to. Now obviously the price is dropping. Let's have another look to see if it's any. Again, I imagine it's going to be about 150 million-ish now. Let's take a look. Yeah, 154 million, so a decent drop, but still a little bit on the pricey side. And again, I can make these in 27 seconds each. I've got 10 BPOs, I've got more than 10 BPOs, so I can crank these out relatively quickly and not have to pay the scalper's price. And that puts me in a generally good position, because anybody else coming in to buy or to make the cores now are obviously having to pay a decent markup, and they're going to want to try and recoup the money or the ISK that they have put in initially to build these. Obviously there were a good number of people that got in before the price hike, and obviously they'll be building and making more ISK, but anybody new to the market at this point will have to pay, so say, a decent amount of markup. So if I can build it cheaper, that gives me a huge advantage over anybody else new, or anybody else that is just getting to the point where now they can start producing the cores. And so with that, I think that pretty much, again, it's really hard to say you should buy these types of BPOs, whether it be ship, ammo, modules, components. Buy the BPOs that you think will enhance or help your gameplay, and then slowly build it up from there. And before long, you know, you're grinding out missions, or you're doing the abyssal runs, or you're in null making ISK. Slowly reinvest that ISK. Don't. Again, it depends what you want from your gameplay, but don't generally spend it all on bling ships and go and die, you know. Try and look long term and try and find better or easier ways of making ISK. And again, I think this just highlights the fact that having a good BPO library to fall back on, even if you don't need it very often, can obviously result in it being incredibly useful and handy when you do need it. So if you made it this far, you might be wondering how much ISK I've actually made off the cores so far, and I've sold a good number, and some of them were for a decent amount of markup, but I think all in all I'm up, after the BPO costs are taken out, about 2.3 billion ISK. So if I include obviously the BPOs in that, then we're looking more around about the 4.7 billion ISK. But obviously if I take out the cost of the BPOs, which was 1.5 billion ISK, 2.3 billion up at this time. Now obviously cores are or have been dropping, and the Tech 2 ones are currently in a lot of flux at the moment, so this could change. If I can sell them for this amount of ISK, then obviously that will go up quite substantially quite quickly. I'm happy with what I've made so far. I haven't really done a great deal to get here, and yeah, we are where we are. So with that, thank you for your time. Thanks for listening. I hope that was useful and helpful, and with that, I'll talk to you again later.